sat my O-level exams, I failed math, I failed history, and I failed all the sciences. But I'm smart enough to know that over time, people who are involved in a process will sometimes change the things that they say, even the things that they do, when trying to convey a message, make a point, or express a way of thinking. Obviously, this goes on in the JKD world as well, but it appears that some people get it, some people don't get it, some people don't even want to get it. So today, I'll try to help those who do want to get it, and if they're amenable, those who don't get it. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast number 179. This is the one about Junfan, the physical, and JKD, the philosophical, or more correctly, Junfan, the physical art, and JKD, the philosophy. As you guys are logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you are catching the simulcast, we had a little issue with the YouTube last week and earlier today, but I think it's all fixed. So if you're catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support the program, please visit jkdrebel.com, click on the Rebel Gear link, and you'll see stuff like this, the 4 tenets of Jeet Kune t-shirt, available as coffee mug, long sleeve t-shirt, short sleeve t-shirt, hoodie, all that good stuff. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. All right, so is anybody here familiar with the English songstress Joan Armatrading? I won't wait for you to answer because I'm pretty sure none of you have ever heard of her. One of my favorite songs of hers is titled Help Yourself. And I just said that I was going to try to help people today who didn't get it, but who do want to get it. But I have to tell you, full disclosure, I royally messed up today. The graphics that I used for this is why Help Yourself is noteworthy. The graphics that I used for today's postcard are actually meant for next week's broadcast. Right? Because even though the two topics are related, they're not identical at all. Not only that, I spent my northbound morning train commute to my private client. I spent that time writing up next week's broadcast, making the notes for next week's broadcast. So it was only when I was headed back south earlier this afternoon that I realized what I'd done, and I had to start working on today's broadcast notes, right? So let me get to the story, but let me forget the story, get to the heart of it. So I've come to understand that people are taking to heart something that Dan Inosanto has been heard to say on seminar and maybe even in magazine articles, and it's this idea that Junfan Gung Fu is Bruce Lee's physical art, whereas Jeet Kune is nothing but his martial philosophy. Now, it sounds familiar, so I'm pretty sure I've heard him say it myself. Maybe I read it, but I can't swear to it. And do you know why? Do you know why I can't swear to it? It's because if I did hear him say it, if I did read it, I didn't take it to heart. I immediately recognized it as a new way of trying to convey information that he's been dispensing for decades. And that's what I was alluding to in the opening, that over time, people will sometimes experiment with a change in language, a change in what they're doing in order to better convey an understanding. So I immediately dismissed it. Now, does this mean that I think that Dan Inosanto is wrong? No. Do I think that he's trying to rewrite history, this history of Jeet Kune? No. Do I think that he's changed the name, that he's attempted to change the name of Bruce Lee's art. No. Why? Because I know better. And I'll be honest, there are people out there who do know better, who should know better, but they don't indicate it. Instead, I believe he's trying to explain that when it comes to structure, let's say, in Jeet Kune, there was a phase, a period in time when Bruce Lee wanted things done in a particular way, when he even wanted things taught in a particular way. And then there was another time when he had moved away from that type of imposition, from that type of limitation. Now, here's why I say there are people who should get it, but they kind of refuse to get it. Did Dan Inosanto himself always talk about Jun Fan and Jeet Kune Do as separate? No. If you look in this, the 1976 book, Jeet Kune Do, The Art and Philosophy of Bruce Lee, that's the title. Jeet Kune Do, The Art and Philosophy of Bruce Lee. No separation. If you look at the articles from this magazine, so this is Karate Illustrated of May 1970, and it's an article entitled Jeet Kune Do, Fast, Powerful, Deceptive, I think. If you look at something like that, there's no equivocation about what Jeet Kune Do is, that Jeet Kune Do is a physical art. A few years later, that book gets published, and we see this in the headings on, if you guys can't see it, it shows Wing Chun as the nucleus, Jun Fan as liberation, and Jeet Kune Do as freedom. So I look at that as Wing Chun, the nucleus, being what, and we've all heard when Bruce Lee was first in Seattle, he taught what people considered to be a drastically modified version of Wing Chun. But it was obvious that Wing Chun was the base. Then years later, there was reference made to the Jun Fan method. So Jun Fan, to me, when you say Jun Fan liberation, it means a liberation away from the Wing Chun element. Jeet Kune Do is freedom from both the Wing Chun nucleus and the Jun Fan liberation. Jeet Kune Do is a freedom, a higher level of freedom away from all limitations, right? So I put it that way because, like many of you, we're smart enough to see how in Seattle they ended up referring to it as Jun Fan Gung Fu. I mean, after all, that modified Wing Chun was taught where? At the Jun Fan Gung Fu Institute, right? So when Bruce Lee gives a name to what he's doing, the Jun Fan method, well, it's Jun Fan Gung Fu. And so to this day, the Kimura clan retains that name for their operation in Seattle. When Bruce Lee said, I teach the Jun Fan method, that's the name, like I said just now, can be applied to his art. When he starts to call what he teaches Jeet Kune Do, then that's kind of like the third installment in the chapters of his evolution, right? Chapter 1, modified Wing Chun. Chapter 2, Jun Fan. Chapter 3, Jeet Kune Do. When Bruce Lee said things like, man, the living creative individual, is more important than any established system or style, do you think that when he said any established system or style, do you think he meant to exclude Jeet Kune Do? Or do you think he meant that even within his own system or style, the living creative individual being is still more important? To me, that's where philosophical tenets come in. By the time you get to 1971's Liberate Yourself from Classical Karate, Bruce Lee is already claiming to have not created any new style, composite, or whatever. So he's now gone way beyond even his own non-creation. But remember that this is the guy in the 1960s had declared famously that he was having his own system drawn up, and boy, will it be it. He thought of doing that because of what? A physical altercation. When he wrote to William Chung about losing faith in even the Wing Chun style, he writes that he had been working hard at things like sparring, full contact, all out. Again, a reference to the physical art. But when Bruce Lee starts to talk about adapt like a shadow and respond like an echo, or even being like water, my friend, right? Obviously, adapt like a shadow, respond like an echo. Obviously, he's not talking about physical actions. But he is using philosophical terms to guide the physicality. So when Inosanto says Jun Fan is the physical, try to think of it this way. He's saying something like this. Okay, if you need to think of your JKD in a structured way, as a structured system, if you're still at that level of understanding or at that level of acceptance, then you're kind of at the Jun Fan stage or the Jun Fan phase of development. Now, once you get past that limited way of thinking or that limited way of expressing yourself, now you're embracing the totality of the art and philosophy of Jeet Kune. So if you're on here and you've not yet seen or read that Jeet Kune Fast, Powerful, Deceptive article, just let me know in the comments, and I can get you a PDF copy of that. All right. So what say you? Do you think that Jun Fan, the physical art, and Jeet Kune, the philosophy, is all there is to it? Do you think that that's to be accepted at face value, and that there's no nuance to it, there's no context to it, the way that Dan Inosanto expresses it? There's no nuance or context that should be applied to it. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and that's all I gotta say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. Coming up on Friday, May 7th, Jeet Kune Dialogues episode with Mark Makita. I'm really looking forward to that one. Mark Makita of Fightology.com. So May 7th, and we should be at 6 p.m. If you can't tell by now, today's a blue day. There you go. All right. And now, for those of you who have not yet tuned out, a note from me. While I believe in freedom of expression and I do not believe in rampant censorship, there still has to be a sense of decorum when we communicate with each other. So attack the ideas if you disagree with them, if you disagree with the person who's putting them forth. Attack the ideas, but spare us the personal attacks. Spare us what they call the ad hominem attacks. If you cannot defeat people, if you cannot defeat their arguments with facts, then don't get into a fight with them. If you think that this, and I'm referring to the I Love Jeet Kune group, the I Love Jeet Kune page, if you think that this is the place to come and be publicly, verbally abusive and cuss and swear at someone else and attack them personally, do not be surprised to find yourself unmembered. It's a word. I will not let this JKD, this page, become a laughing stock of the internet or a laughing stock of the world of Jeet Kune. This is not the place that people are going to be referring to when they say, oh, you know, there's been a lot of bickering back and forth about Jeet Kune over on that page. I am not going to put up with having to read all kinds of free flow drivel on my page and then go over to Chris Kent and see people being smart. It's not going to happen. There's a recent post. There's been over 200 exchanges on it, over 200 comments and replies and whatever on this particular post. And that's kind of given me the opportunity to see the kind of people who are the kind of people with whom I want to be associated. Some of them I have known from before. I know them personally, and some of them I really only know them from Facebook. I shall name a few of them. Kevin Myers, Keith Myers. I don't know if they're twins, if they're related. I wondered about that. Cliff Tudor, Brooks Long, Rodney Hitchcock, Andy Wilson, Tim Becker. I call him Becherer. He doesn't mind. Lee Richardson, Shad Scott, Neil McLeod. Now those are not the only people, but those are the people that I didn't even have to think about it. I could name those people because I've read their comments over and over again. They are the kind of people that are bringing intelligence to this page. If you are not, you will find yourself unmembered. I am not putting up with it. Okay, so that's it. Enough from me. I'll see some of you on Friday when we talk with Mark Makita, 6 p.m. On my personal page. If not, hopefully I'll see some of you back here next Wednesday for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. Until then, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel, signing off. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Take care. Talk soon.